Chapter 15. First thing I notice when conscious finds me is that I can't move my legs at all. My eyes are still shut, but I'm too scared to open them. What if they had to amputate my leg? Jayden's soft voice floats into my ear and I instantly feel my muscles relaxing one by one. He is here, which means I'm safe. Jayden, I cry out, then feel his hand grip mine tightly. I squeeze his giant hand and start to cry. The tears couldn't be held in. Not any longer. It's okay, love. You're okay, Jayden comforts, and I feel his warm lips press against my knuckles. I want my mom, I cry, allowing the sobs to ricochet through my body. I want my mom, please Jayden, I want my mom. I sound like a 5-year-old kid who is scared of the dark and is calling her mom to save her. I want my mom right now because I'm scared and because I miss her. I miss my dad. I miss my brothers. I miss my home. Calm down, babe. Everything will be all right, he whispers comfortingly in my ear as I sob. His arms are securely around my waist now as he comforts me. A knock on the door breaks me from my thoughts. My eyes instantly snap open and the first thing I see is a blue blanket wrapped tightly around my body. I can't see my leg, but I can tell there must be a cast or something on it by the way the blue blanket bumps up. Thank goodness. One of my arms is wrapped into the blanket while the other lays at my side and my hand being held by Jayden's significantly larger one. I nod at Jayden as he calls to the person on the other side of the door. I grip his hand tighter as he stands up. I don't want him to leave me. Not now. The door opens and in comes a middle-aged man wearing deep blue scrubs and a white doctor's jacket. He also has a stethoscope wrapped around his neck and a clipboard in his hand. Hello, Melody. How are you feeling this morning? He asks, standing at the edge of my bed. I watch as he hangs the clipboard on the rail at the end of my bed. I can't move my leg, I say, staring at him as he watches me carefully. I can feel Jayden's eyes moving from me to the doctor. Yes, he nods. Your leg has been bandaged up and strapped down for more efficient healing. You've been asleep for almost half the day, so I reckon you're pretty much healed by now. I nod as he explains, then he throws the blue blanket off my lower leg, revealing the heavy-weighted cast. He examines it for a few silent seconds before speaking again. Let's open it up, shall we? 20 minutes later, I am open to what lives beneath the white cast, and to my surprise, it's not too bad. My ankle is slightly swelled and bruised. You can see where the teeth of the trap bite into my skin, but the wounds have turned into slight cuts. How has it healed so fast? I ask, still staring at my ankle, and I move my hand to touch it, but Jayden grabs it before I can. He growls at me, getting my attention, before shaking his head. Well, Luna, you were given some of Alpha's royal blood. Given that royal Alpha blood is stronger than any normal werewolf, you healed much faster and the results will be much better. The doctor speaks up, and my eyes go straight from the doctor to Jayden. He smiles down at me and places a kiss on my forehead. His hand stays wrapped around mine as the doctor goes to work with cleaning up the wounds again, and then he wrapped some bandage around it. Next, he started telling me what to do. Right, so you can go home today because I know you'll be taken care of. Doc glances at Jayden, but I must warn for you to be careful. Even though your ankle is healing nicely, it is still damaged underneath the skin. Any twist or sudden pressure could cause more injuries. Now, I'm not saying bed rest, but if you do cause more harm to yourself, then that is what will happen. I sigh loudly and fall backwards onto the familiar sheets of Jayden's our bed. The silk sheets look around my body as I find a comfy position on top of the covers. I listen to the soft sound of running water from the shower. As soon as we got in, Jayden set me down on the bed, gave me a kiss, then disappeared into the adjoining bathroom. I feel my body cry in exhaustion as I move to crawl out of bed. I drag myself into the closet, and the smell of pure manliness hits me. I run my hand along the neatly folded tops on his shelves and the hoodies that hang up on the silver rails. Even though Jayden did originally take me to my room, as soon as I had got changed into some pajamas, Jayden decided it would be better if I stayed in his room. It's not like I don't sleep in his room every night anyway. When I'm alone, I get nightmares. I bite my lip and glance at the door to check if Jayden is coming. I quickly strip out of my clothes into one of Jayden's soft gray tops. I turn towards the door to head out back into the bedroom. I still, and my face heats up instantly. There in front of me is Jayden. He is smirking at me from the doorway, wearing only a towel around his waist. I blush deeper and divert my eyes. By habit, I start to bite my lip. Stealing my top, are you? He chuckles, walking over to me then as soon as I'm in reach his arms snake around my waist. Maybe I say, trying not to stutter because of the sparks racing through my body at his naked touch. Amen, he says, dipping his head into my neck. His hand finds the bottom of the shirt, and he tugs it slightly. I like you in my clothes. I laugh, and wrap my arms around his neck. Well, I better wear them more often, hadn't I? Or maybe I'll go back to my room and change. I say, trying to move away. He growls and his grip tightens around me as he leans back to look at me. No, you are in our room, love. Plus, there is no need to change, he says, kissing my lips quickly before pulling away. Well, do you know who does need to change? You. Get a move on. You've got me all wet now, I say, pushing him away softly. He laughs and pulls on the shirt again. He quickly leans over me and grabs another one. He throws it over my face, then I hear his heart-warming laugh. I pout as I remove the top from my head, which dishevels my hair, making it fall in my face. He chuckles and uses his finger to remove the hair from my face, then he cups my cheeks. His head dips down and he softly bites my pouted lip. I throw my arms around his waist and pull him closer to kiss him. He instantly kisses back and I hear him groan gently. The kiss is passionate with some hints of dominance from Jayden. His alpha power always surprises me, even though his scent gives off raw power. I pull away, needing to catch my breath. We stand in each other's embrace for a few more minutes before I finally break the silence. We need to get changed, I say, breathlessly glancing at the forgotten top on the floor. Thank goodness Jayden's towel is still securely around his waist. Okay, he says, pecking my lips once more before turning around and starts rummaging through his clothes. I quickly leave, completely forgetting the top on the floor and keeping the thick gray one I am wearing on. I quickly make my way to the bed and fall down on top of it. The soft fluffiness yearns for me to get in and my body wants to sleep. I crawl under the covers and snuggle into the pillow. Sleep slowly starts washing over me until the bed dips beside me. I open my eyes slightly and peck at Jayden, who gives me a smile as he gets under the covers. He lays down and puts his arms around my waist, then pulls me closer. My parents want to talk to us tomorrow, he says, kissing my forehead. I let out a long sigh. Okay, but for now, can we sleep, I say, laying my head on his unnaturally strong chest. Of course, love, get some rest, he says. I groan silently as my bladder groans in protest of my sleep. I roll over onto my stomach, but it just adds pressure to my bladder. I finally decide to give in. I open my eyes and have to wait for them to adjust to the darkness of the night. Good thing I have wolf vision. I glance up at Jayden's sleeping face. His mouth is slightly open and his features are so relaxed. I remove myself from his arms and make my way to the bathroom. I quickly complete my business and wash my hands. Suddenly I let out a pained scream and fall to the floor. The pain is unbearable. Tears have instantly started falling down my cheeks as I sob in the darkness. Need Jayden. I scream again as the pain worsens in my lower abdomen. I curse under my breath just as the lights in the bathroom flicker on. Shit. Melody, Jayden's voice, fills the bathroom and soon I feel his touch on my hot skin. It instantly starts relieving the pain. Then it hits me. I'm in heat. That's why I want Jayden. Melody, shit, you're burning up, he says, picking me up. He runs to the bed and throws me down. When I look at him, his eyes are black and filled with lust. Heat, I mumble, just as another scream rips from my throat. He grips my hand and suddenly he is hovering over me. Sheesh, baby. It's okay, you're going to be okay, he says, then his hands find the front of my top and he rips it off. And no PLS, I say, I don't want us to mate like this. Not because we have to, or because it would stop my heat. I can do this. I survived those years thinking I didn't have a mate. I can survive a few nights of agony. I would never force you, he says breathlessly. I can tell this is hard for him too. I lift my head up and bring my lips to his. Instantly the pain dies down slightly. He kisses me back deeply and rather rough. I can feel part of his wolf in the kiss. His tongue dives into my mouth and wins the dominance battle. His hands are gripping my waist tightly as he holds himself above me. He lowers slightly and I feel his naked chest against my own bare stomach. I realize that I am only in my bra and knickers, and he is only wearing a pair of joggers. I pull away, trying to regain the oxygen in my lungs. Jayden climbs off me and lays on his side against my side. I don't move from my position on my back, scared that movement will bring back the agony. One of Jayden's arms moves to pillow my head, and one of his hands rubs my abdomen in a gentle caress. You'll be okay, Melody. Chapter 16. Rain batters against the window opposite the bed. It wakes me up from my light slumber. I groan in pain as I stretch myself out. I can still feel the heat in the pit of my stomach, but so far it's died down. It's nowhere near as painful as it was last night. When I was 16, I did get the period and heat talk with my parents, which was the most awkward few hours of my life. They also decided to add some mating advice to it too. Mikey, of course, just laughed and smirked the entire time. I on their hand sat still blushing crimson red. I snuggled closer into the pillow, trying to let sleep find me again, but an arm around my waist had another idea. Jayden's arm pulls me over so I'm lying on my back. I pout up at him, but to my dismay he just smiles. Slowly he leans down and places a gentle kiss on the side of my lips. Then he moves to kiss my lips, but this time the kiss is passionate and deep instead of gentle. I wrap my arms around his neck and pull him impossibly closer. He maneuvers his body so he hovers above me. My legs find themselves wrapping around his waist and pulling him tighter against me. I could feel his lust just as he can probably sense mine. We need to stop soon, or I don't think we will be able to. Stop, I whisper against his lips, moving my hand onto his chest. He pulls away slowly as if he didn't want to. I knew he didn't, but I wasn't ready yet. Good morning, he says with a soft smile, and he lays on his side next to me. His hand is softly caressing my lower abdomen and the other hand props his head up. Morning, Jay, I say, staring at his solid chest. I place my hand on it and feel his fast heartbeat beneath my hand. We were meant to speak to my parents this morning, but I've postponed it to this afternoon instead, Jayden says, looking at the clock on the wall. They said about 12 and that they are having a picnic sort of, so we'll meet them in the indoor gardens. Okay, sound fine, but will they ... smell me, I say, and I can feel myself blushing as soon as the words leave my mouth. He chuckles and places a kiss on my forehead before fully sitting up and pulling me with him. Maybe, but don't worry, my parents know what it's like, so they won't judge you, he says comfortingly. I nod and turn away. Suddenly, I realize that I haven't talked to my brother since he started being alpha. I grab my phone and start typing a text message. What you doing, Jay asks, kissing my shoulder, then my neck. He turns me around to face him and smiles down at me. Just texting Mikey. He became alpha the day after we left and I haven't spoken to him since. Considering what he asks places yet another kiss on my neck. He seriously can't keep himself off me this morning. It must be the heat. Considering everything that is happening here, I'm always busy, I say, just as a buzz echoes from my phone. I quickly look at my phone to see a message from Mikey. Oh my gosh, I whisper, looking at the message and rereading twice. I can't believe it. I've been gone 10 days and they are already engaged. Mikey didn't even tell me. We used to tell each other everything. But I suppose circumstances change. Victoria wants me at her hen party. Oh my gosh, that would be wicked fun. Only one problem. I don't think Jayden is going to let me go home and out of his sight anytime soon. What is it? Jay asks from the closet doorway. I hadn't even noticed that he had gotten out of bed. I look at him, then back to the phone. I have to go home, it slips out, those 5 little words. Only one short sentence, but the snarl that echoes around the room after them is not as short-lived. What he says threateningly, his hands are gripping onto the doorframe so tightly that it's starting to crack beneath the force. Calm down, I say, forcing my voice not to break or stutter as my heart races at the sight of how utterly terrifying he looks. His wolf has partly come out, his claws are sharp and digging into the wall. His fangs have slipped out of his mouth. His eyes are growing darker. I should have waited until after my heat was over. I forgot about it, to be honest. I was told that males become unbearably possessive when their female is in heat. They would literally kill if any other male tried to take the female away from him. That's exactly what I just tried to do. From his perspective, I'm guessing it sounded like I said that I would leave him and go home. Calm down. Melody, I have told you this before and I will tell you again. You are mine. You will stay with me because if you leave, I will kill to get you back. Our souls are connected. I'm not forcing you into anything you don't want to do because I care about you. More than I expected for our first week together, he says, standing in front of me all of a sudden. I'm sorry if you think I'm overreacting, Melody, but you are in heat and still unmated, and it's driving my wolf crazy. He sighs loudly and rests his head in my lap. I run my hand through his hair softly and place a kiss on his head. Jay, I say, caressing his almost hidden cheek, I meant I have to go home soon to visit my brother. He texted me saying he is getting married. I'm invited to the hen party. I'm sure you can come along, but not to the hen, obviously. I laugh softly as he slowly lifts his head to meet my eyes. I place my fingers under his chin and lean forward to capture his lips in my own. I don't know what's happened to make me so loving. Is that the right word? After accepting him and coming into heat, everything is just starting to finally settle. I do have a mate. Jayden is my mate. I pull my lips away before we start anything because I have a brother to text and a picnic to prepare for. I'm sorry, I'm just scared, okay, Jayden says, getting up as I do and following me into the closet. I've never been this out of control. You literally drive me crazy. He chuckles and throws me a cheeky smirk, but I know we'll make it through this following both our wishes, well, more yours because mine would include you. Nah, Jayden, I say, throwing a sock at him. He lets out a laugh and puts his hands up in mock surrender. Right. Out. I'm getting changed. Okay, I'll be out here if you need me, he shouts once he is out of sight. I grab a pair of ripped black skinny jeans and throw on one of Jay's oversized top that falls off my shoulder. I finish the outfit with some simple black Converse. My waves of hair are naturally flowing over my shoulder, so I decide to leave it how it is. I grab my phone from where I threw it before changing and text Mikey back. After hitting send, I glance in the mirror to my left and check out my outfit. It looks normal and casual. Do I look all right? I'm about to eat with the Alpha King and Queen that also happen to be my mate's parents. I let out a laugh while shaking my head and text a quick reply. I push my phone into my back pocket. I walk out of the closet and instantly notice Jayden playing a game on his phone while laying on the bed. Ready, I ask, standing at the end of the bed. I bend down and lean my arms against his knees that fall off the bed. Ready for what he asks, propping himself up on his elbows. To meet your parents, obviously, I say. Melody, he laughs, that's in like over 3 hours. You complete Dumbo. I told you we're going to chill because you're still in heat. I groan and fall on top of him. He lets out a pained huff, but he quickly shifts me so I'm lying comfortably on top of him. When will the pain come back, I ask, fiddling with his white shirt before falling off him to lie by his side. It will come and go. In the nights it will be at its worst, but don't worry, it's only 2 more nights, he says comfortingly, rubbing my back, but it doesn't quite rid my fear. As a kid, I was told that the pain of heat can eventually lead to a female dying from the excruciatingly painful experience. Okay, you won't leave me, will you? I ask in a whisper, as I look up at his deep blue eyes that blaze down on me. I promise I will never leave you, he says, unless it's to punch someone who is looking at you for too long. Jay, I groan with a laugh and hid my face in his chest. I feel his chest rumble as he laughs with me and his heart is beating powerful and steadily. Who is coming to the picnic, I ask. Before he answers, I sneak a glance outside to the still pouring rain. Well, it will be my beta Asher and his mate of 3 years, Willow. They are expecting their first baby, but she is only about 9 weeks along. Jayden says, looking up at the ceiling, then it's my parents and us. My Delta Mason and Gamma Blaine won't be able to join us today considering you're in heat and they are unmated. Oh, okay, that's fine, I say with a nod. My mom gave me some spray that masks your scent, which she said could help decrease your heat scent, he says, getting up. He goes into the bathroom and comes out with a perfume bottle in his hand. He chucks it to me and I catch it with ease. I get off the bed and spray the bottle's liquid all over me to cover my scent. How is it, I say as I finish. I put my arms out and spin around for show. He takes a sniff and scrunched us his nose. I can smell it, but that's because I'm your mate. It's definitely died down though, for now anyways, he replies. Okay, good, I nod, then glance over at him to notice that he is staring at me with a small smile on his face. I turn to fully face him and tilt my head to the side. He just grins at me even more and folds his arms over his chest. You drive me crazy, he says with a slight shake of his head. You don't realize how badly I want us to fully mate, to start our life together. Me too, but I just need more time, I say, walking to him and slipping my arms around his waist. I know, and I'll wait forever. Every full moon. Werewolf joke there, he chuckles, my little moonlight. What did you just call me? I say, raising an eyebrow up at him. My little moonlight. Stop acting like such a lichen. You're a werewolf, you Dumbo, I laugh. Sorry, he says, filling his head into my neck and breathing deeply. I sigh in content in his comforting arms. Kiss me, I command, looking up. He immediately lifts his head up and smirks like a child at Christmas. He leans down and presses his lips to mine. Chapter 17. The clouds have risen once more and the sky has decided to play hide and seek. The clouds open up and allow the rain to fall down on Jayden and I. We were having a nice walk to his parents' indoor gardens, but the rain decided it wanted us to hurry up. I pull the thin coat over my head as my attempt to keep my hair from getting dry, but the rain will always find its way in. The garden doors are finally in reach, and Jayden and I burst into them as quickly as we can. We both let out a few deep breaths of relief at the instant warmth of which the gardens behold. I look around at the greenery of the gardens and smile. Flowers of all sorts are splattered around, living amongst bushes and trees. I finally realize that the king, queen, Jay's beta and his pregnant mate are sitting on a picnic bench in the middle of the gardens. Hey, Jayden waves over at his smiling parents. He takes my hand and walks us both over to where his parents are sitting. My stomach is fluttering with nerves as I watch his parents standing up to greet us. My eyes glance over at the beta Asher, whom is smiling at Jayden and I with his arm tightly wrapped around a beautiful woman. I guess that is Willow. Mom Jay greets, hugging the short, thin woman that looks exactly like him. He takes after his mom then. I watch as he turns around and gives his father a man hug. Then he turns to me and wraps his arm around my waist. He shuffles me forward slightly, and I smile at his parents. Even though I've met them briefly before, it is still nerve-wracking. Hey, I greet just before I'm pulled in for a hug by Kate. I instantly return the warm hug and enjoy the familiar feeling of a mom hug. I miss my mom. How are you, Melody? King Russell asks as I pull away from Kate's hug. What am I? Am I happy? I glance at Jayden, who is grinning down at me. I'm happy when I'm with Jayden, but I feel like something is missing. Family, more importantly, my family. Fine, I reply with a smile as I push away the negative thoughts cramming my head. Come sit down, you must be starving, Kate says, putting a shoulder around me and leading me over to the picnic table where Asher and Willow have stayed seated. Hey, Melody, nice to finally meet you, Asher speaks up finally. He stands up and walks over to give me a hug. As he hugs me, I hear the slight quiet growl escape Jayden's mouth, making me giggle. Yes, it's good to meet you, I reply, glancing from him to Jayden, who has sat down opposite Willow. I know it's been a long time coming, but you've been busy with training and Jayden, then I've been off duty since you got back to help sort out Willow. The baby was a surprise, one we are glad for, but it's also one we weren't ready for. Asher says, leading me to the picnic table where everyone is already seated. I leave Asher and take a seat next to Jayden. He greets me with a quick kiss on the forehead before proceeding to chat with Asher. I look over at Willow and notice she is smiling at me. Hey, Melody, I'm Willow, she speaks up with the same happy smile as she leans over and shakes my hand. It's nice to see you at last. Jayden's done a good job at keeping you to himself as much as possible, hasn't he? I let out a laugh and turn to a now pouting Jayden. I lean up and peck his cheek before turning back to Willow. I know. It's good to finally meet my fellow beta female. We should definitely go out sometime without the boys. I promise there will be no alcohol, I laugh, gesturing towards her small bump. Sounds great. No alcohol but plenty of boys. Just as she finishes her sentence, Jayden and Asher growl possessively. So Melody, Kate speaks up just as I grab a sandwich from the middle and place it on my plate. How is your heat? Mom, Jayden yells in embarrassment, but Kate only laughs at her son. What? It is an innocent question. Everyone at this table has either been through it or witnessed it. She speaks truthfully, but I can't help the blush that creeps up my neck as all gazes fall on me to answer the question. It's manageable, I nod, biting into my sandwich. Asher, Russell, and Willow all nod and carry on eating, but Kate didn't seem to want to drop the subject so easily. I don't like you putting you and Jayden in such pain just because you don't want to fully mate yet, she says, shaking her head in disappointment. It is pointless because in the end you will both mate anyways, so why wait and sit in pain? I look down at my food as her words swirl around in my head. Am I being stupid? Why am I postponing the inevitable? She is right, we will mate one day, so why am I letting me, and also Jayden, go through all this pain because I want to wait? You can't say that Kate Russell scolds his wife, it's their bond, so it's Jayden and Melody's choice. Yes, I know that Kate shouts, giving me an annoyed look before turning back to Russell, but it is not both of their choice, is it? Jayden obviously wants to mat with her. He doesn't want her to wait and continue with the pain of heat. But no, it's just her choice. She is choosing pain over love. My heart is thumping out of my chest now, and my ears have tuned out of the constant shouting. Kate's words fly through my head at top speed, and I can feel a panic attack creeping its way into my chest. I don't really notice when I had stood up, but I find myself racing out of the glass doors and into the pouring rain. It felt numbing on my face. I could hear a faint voice calling out to me, but my feet were working on autopilot. Kate's voice in my head has turned to words, and it's screaming now, screaming about how horrible and stupid I am. I breathe deeply and find myself realizing that I am in the woods. The rain is still pouring and it's starting to bite at my skin now, but my head is too occupied to think about getting warm. I lean against the tree and try to clear my thoughts to focus on my breathing. It starts getting slower, and finally my chest stops squeezing, allowing me to once again breathe normally. My head still pounds with the negative thoughts and the way my mate's mom was shouting at me and about me. I open my eyes for the first time in 10 minutes and look around to try and figure out where I am. There are trees all around me. I wish I knew what part of the forest I am in. Well, I was in the gardens, which are situated in the northern area of the castle grounds. I must be in the northern or east forest then. It's dark underneath the thick layer of black rain cloud. It reminds me of when I was little, when I was scared of the dark. I used to cry and cry until Mikey crawled from his bed on the opposite side of the room into mine and cuddled me. Eventually, when I was 16, I became too scared to sleep because of the nightmares that haunted me every night. I went days at a time with no sleep until eventually my parents took me to the infirmary. The doctor injected me with some sort of sedative, and I slept for 2 days on and off in the infirmary. My parents suspected that my dreams were linked to the mystic wolf. But it wasn't. I was just suffering of severe depression because I had declared I had no mate. It's weird, something in me thought that meant my mate is dead, so I feel into a depressed state. After 2 years, I finally got a hold of myself, and the nightmares faded into blackness. Then Jayden walked into my life and they started again, but this time they were different. They were about me because isolated for not having a mate. Now they are about losing my mate, who I am suddenly falling for. A cold shiver scraps up my back as the cold rain finally sleeps through my clothes and touches my bare skin underneath. I let myself slide down the tree until I am sitting on the soaked glacial forest floor. It doesn't make a difference, though I'm soaking wet anyways. How am I going to face anyone now? I'm being such a selfish bitch. I didn't think about the pain my heat is causing Jayden, or the entire pack for that matter. If I die, then Jayden dies and the royal line and pack is left with no heir. I bite down on my lip, hard to try and focus on my pain instead of the thoughts in my mind. My wolf isn't helping. She is anxious and upset, so she has disappeared into the back of my mind. As I hear a familiar voice swearing. The person was a black blur in the distance, but their voice was as clear as day. 1 minute the shadow is in the distance, then the next thing I know is that they are directly in front of me. It's Jayden. Melody. Oh my gosh, Melody. It's okay, love, he says hurriedly. He picks me up gently as though I'm a china doll about to break. I feel my eyes starting to roll back, but I force myself to stay awake. It's peaceful. My ears are no longer allowing any noise, and so I just watch and feel the cold rain biting at my skin. Jayden is pelting at full speed, so all I can see is a green blur of the forest until finally he stops. We are outside the infirmary. People have stopped and started staring now. Everyone is holding umbrellas, and it's amazing there are so many colors everywhere. I rest my tired head on Jayden's chest as he runs in the infirmary doors. In an instant we are greeted by nurses who hurriedly lay me on a trolley. I only watch in silence as they cover me in blankets and foil sheets, then I'm wheeled down some corridors. My whole body feels numb, but I can feel the constant shivers ricocheting through my body. I cough violently as my chest starts compressing my lungs. I can feel the rain dripping off the end of my nose and falling to its doom on the thin mattress of the trolley. I come to a sudden stop and I feel nothing as the doctor and nurses shuffle me onto a hospital bed. The doctor is talking, but I can't hear him. I've tuned out by now. He starts cutting up my clothes and Jayden growls angrily. In seconds, he has me changed into the t-shirt he was wearing 10 seconds ago. The doctors then put blankets over all my body and my head. Right, the doctor starts as he examines me over. Her body temperature is at 28 C. Her breathing is too shallow. Can you put an oxygen mask on her, please? Before I know it, a mask is put over my head and covers my nose and mouth. I try and take deep breaths, but find it difficult. Alpha Jayden and I listen to a woman in light blue scrubs talking to my mate. Luna has got moderate hypothermia. She will be fine, but for a few days she will be constantly tired and feel cold. Also, we aren't sure, but her heat might not come as she is too cold. Okay, great, thank you, he replies with a nod. He walks over to me and takes a seat next to me. We'll pull through this melody. Don't listen to my mother. This is us. You and me, not her. Chapter 18. Consciousness finds me the next morning in Jayden's bed, unlike when I fell asleep in. The first thing I notice is Jayden fast asleep on the chair next to me with his head on the edge of my bed. I look around the room and smile at the sunshine outside. I lean over and place a kiss on Jayden's head. He instantly wakes up. He looks at me with a sleep grin before letting out a loud yawn and a stretch. Morning, princess, he says, kissing my cheek, then moves to kiss my lips. I smile into the kiss and wrap my arms around his neck. Morning, I reply with a grin after pulling away from his luscious lips. So baby, he says, climbing into the bed next to me. How are you feeling? I'm all right, just feel a bit off, I guess, I reply, looking down to where I lay. Are you sure? Don't pretend to be all right for me, tell me the truth. I promise I am fine, Jay, and I promise that I will tell you if I don't feel all right, I say, cupping his cheek in my hand. We were supposed to tell you at the picnic, then all this happened, but tonight your parents and brothers are coming to the castle for the night. No way, I scream, standing up way too quickly. My head instantly spins and I grip the edge of the bed to steady myself. Whoa, Jayden says, grabbing me. Doc says that you will get tired and dizzy spells. I'm okay, I nod, letting a smile find my face. So what shall we do today? Well, we could go out if you like, he suggests, even though you should stay in, but if I'm honest, I think we need to get out of the castle. My mom is trying to find you, by the way, to apologize. I rub my temples at the thought about Kate and what happened yesterday. I don't think I want to talk to her yet. What could we do? I heard Willow talking about something that's happening today, I say, folding my arms in front of me. Jayden raises his eyebrows and looks at my chest. I snap my fingers in front of him, which makes him look back at my face. I roll my eyes but can't help the smile that finds my face. Yes, there is a big sort of party thing we do it every few months. Basically, all the guys play a big basketball match while the females sit on the side having picnics and stuff. He explains with a shrug. I haven't been for a while, actually. Let's go then, I say, jumping up, but stop when Jayden gives me a stern look. You realize this will be the day you will be introduced to the entire pack, then, don't you, Jay says, gripping my waist slightly tighter. I never thought about that, but I suppose that wouldn't be such a bad thing. It's not an entire day all about me, so the main focus won't be on me. It sounds like a good idea. That's fine by me, I smirk and place a kiss on his chin. The biggest, brightest smile lights up his face as soon as I say that. He leans down and pecks my lips softly before heading into the closet. I sigh and rub my hand down my face. I can't believe this is actually happening. I'm going to have to face Kate, and the truth behind her words. I just hope the whole pack aren't on the same page as her. I shake my head to rid myself of those thoughts and walk straight into the bathroom. I really need a long hot shower. Lodi, you okay? Jay asks, wrapping his arms around my waist from behind me. I smile and lean back against his solid chest. I look out of the window and hold onto the frame. I cherish the feeling of fresh air and Jayden's arms around me. I'm fine, I say with a short nod. Jayden moves his arms to my waist and spins me around so I am facing him. Shall we get going? He smirks, holding his hands out in front of me to take. I smile and put my hands in his large ones. I can't help but love the way his fit worth mine. Cheesy, right? Jayden leads me down the many flights of stairs before taking me outside. The sun beams down on us, making me regret wearing a thick knitted jumper. The sky is a gorgeous blue, which is a change from the constant gray clouds we've had this winter. It's lovely today, I say as Jay and I walk towards the basketball court holding hands. It is indeed the perfect day for a game and a picnic. Just a warning, everyone is going to be here, including my parents, he says, looking down at me. How many people? Many people. We're the royal pack, so we are the largest around with just over 10,000 inhabitants around. But most live in other territories for schools and uni, he explains, and I gasp. 10,000 wolves? He expects me to lead 10,000 wolves. That's not even mentioning other packs we have to help with. Holy crackers, I whisper to myself. I know Jay heard, but I didn't mean for him too. Hey, he says, stopping us and moving to stand in front of me. It's okay, Lodi, I promise to never leave your side. We will rule he best we can, and that's all we can do. I smile and peck his cheek. He nods in approval before carrying on walking. His words play no part in calming my nerves, though. After a while of walking, I hear the party before I see it. People are talking everywhere, and I can hear the shouts of the guys on the court. Hey, Willow pops up out of nowhere and pulls me into a hug. She turns to give Jay a quick hug, too. Hello, I reply with a smile. How's the picnic looking? Great, but I could really use an extra pair of hands on the buffet table, she says, her tone full of the unspoken question of help. Sure, I'll help, I say, making her shout in happiness. I look to find Jayden to see him talking to another male in a pair of basketball shorts. Thank you. Everyone has left me to do it, to watch the boys, she says, obviously annoyed. Hey Jay, I call to my distracted mate. He turns and gives me a smile. I'm going to help Willow with the food. Jay frowns and walks to me, so he stands directly in front of me. His hands fins the side of my face in a gentle hold. You sure you'll be okay? You realize my mom is here, he questions. His thumb runs along my cheek softly and I sigh mentally. I'll be fine. Anyway, you're only on RN court, so I know where to find you, I reply with a slight shrug. Go have fun with the other guys. Okay, he smiles and pecks my lips, but come find me if there are any problems, all right? All right, I nod. I give him a quick hug before turning and walking away with Willow. I can't help but glance behind me and watch as he disappears into the crowd around the court. Are you usually on food duty? Then I ask Willow as we walk towards a series of tables in a line, covered in all sorts of food. Yeah, party food is my specialty. I love to make little snacks and finger foods, but I hate making actual meals, she finished saying just as we arrive at the tables of food. What do you want me to do? I ask with a smile. Could you put all of the drinks from in the bag under there into the jugs, please? Then put all the red cups on the table too, she points to my right, then continues to move food around. I grab some jugs off the table and line them up in a line before getting all the large bottles of fizzy drinks out of the bag. As I start filling up the jugs, I hear shouting and cheering from the crowds. I look in the direction of the court and make out the men all jumping to shoot a hoop. Hello, I hear a voice behind me making me jump. I turn around to see a little girl with pigtails standing behind me. Please, may I have some orange juice? Of course you can, I say happily, quickly filling up a little cup before handing it to the little girl. Don't spill it, will you? No, I promise I won't, she says with a toothy grin just before she rushes off towards a gathering crowd of women on picnic blankets. I stare at the crowd for a few seconds, but instead of heading over there, I return to pouring out the drinks. Hey, Jayden's warm voice floats around me and his arms find my waist. He rests his chin on my shoulder and I turn my head to kiss his nose. His face is slightly sweaty and I notice that he is shirtless. I frown. I don't want all these women staring at my mate's body. Only I can see my mate's body. I want to see it, all of it. I feel something rush down my spine and thought flood my mind of us mating. I want us to mate. I do want us to mate event, though I'm still scared. There is no point being scared. I know that this man in front of me will always be there for me and will always love me. I missed you, Jay says. His warm embrace making me sigh in content. Kisses my shoulder softly as we sway slightly in the soft breeze. I turn around and wrap my arms around his neck. His bright eyes stare down at me lovingly, making my heart burst. I go on my tiptoes and place my lips on his. He immediately kisses back at first. It was slowly, but it soon turned into a battle of dominance. He wins, obviously. His arms tighten around my waist and back then he pulls my flush into him. My hands move to his cheeks as we kiss. As we kiss, I forget about everything. About Kate. About the basketball game. About the drinks. Everything except how I want this man forever. I pull away slowly, not really wanting to but needing the oxygen. Jay rests his head against my own and breathes deeply. Jay, I whisper, biting my lip nervously. He hums his response as he keeps his forehead on mine. I'm ready, I whisper softly. Instantly his ferocious blue eyes snap to mine and I feel his grip tighten against my waist. What he says in a surprised whisper. His eyes are searching mine, but they won't find anything but honesty in them. I don't want to wait anymore, Jay. I have you and I want you before I lose you, I say, reaching up and placing a quick kiss on his lips. I promise you'll never lose me. Are you sure you're ready? Yes, I say, and he smiles so brightly that the sun is probably getting jealous. Let's not do it on the picnic food, though. He laughs and his humor tickles my stomach, so I let out my own laugh. Shut up, Jay, or I'll change my mind, I hit his shoulder playfully. He gasps, then smirks. He leans back and bows his head to me. Whatever you say, my queen. You're such a goofball, I giggle, wrapping my arms around his neck tightly again. I'm your goofball. Soon I'll be your goofball forever, he says, picking me up by my waist and spinning me around. I squeal happily, and when he stops I tilt my head down and press my lips gently against his. Chapter 19. Jayden. Melody of feminine voices pulls us from our make-out session. I frown at the woman now standing a few feet in front of us. Jay growls through our mind link and puts me on the ground, although he keeps his arms around my waist as he moves to stand beside me. If you're too uncomfortable with this, tell me. Okay, Jay links me and I just answer him with a quick nod of my head. Mom, Jayden greets her with a sort of sad smile on his face. That facial expression changed my mind on Kate. She's been horrible to me, but I'll put it behind me for Jay's happiness. Jayden, I wish to apologize to you for how I acted the other day, she says, avoiding my eye. Thank you, Mom, he replies with a nod. Then I notice him gesture to me with his head. I stare straight at Kate, who turns to me with a smile. Melody. I apologize for saying what I did to you, she says, giving me a slight nod. I shouldn't have interfered. Thank you, I reply with the best smile I could master. I have to forgive her. After all, she is the queen and my mom-in-law. Melody. Over here I hear Willow's smooth voice calling me from the courtfield. I nod in respect to Kate and walk straight over to Willow without looking at Jayden. I don't hear any footsteps behind me. I can't help but feel slightly annoyed at that. I shake my head and walk to Willow, who is by the tables of food. Hey, you okay? I ask as I reach her. She sighs loudly and shakes her head. No, someone has eaten all the bloody chips already. Would you go to the kitchens and get some more, please? She asks, rushing around trying to move plates and stuff. I grab her by the shoulders, making her stop. Willow, just breath for a minute, I order her with a smile. You're pregnant, for God's sake. You shouldn't be doing this, so go watch the game with the others and I'll sort this out. Okay. Okay, she breathes out in relief as she gives me a quick hug. Thanks, Melody, you're going to be an amazing queen. I watch her waddle off to the cheering crowd around the basketball games. I smile as I watch her, but I catch the glimpse of my mate's sexy self on the courts enjoying himself. I sigh before making my way to the castle kitchens. I get there pretty quickly because my mind is half asleep. I head straight to the chips cupboard and grab a few bags of assorted flavors. I place them on the kitchen island and lean my head on the cold surface. Out of nowhere, I hear a knock on the long wall of floor-to-ceiling windows. I spin around quickly and take a few steps to the windows. I look around, but see nothing. Suddenly, a couple of large rock hurtles into the window, smashing each one of the giant windows. The rock smashes into my shoulder so hard that I collapse onto the floor of smashed glass. My head was pounding and my ears started to buzz. I felt like everything around me was in slow motion and I couldn't breathe for a minute. Nobody is around, so it's just me here. That means no other casualties, thank goodness. I lay on the floor and breathe slowly as I look around. The windows have smashed and the glass is everywhere. I feel the sting of the cuts from the glass over my body. I feel the warm blood dripping from my face onto the floor. My shoulder is burning and tears have formed in my eyes from the pain. I steadily move my arms from over my head as place them on the floor. I ignore the glass cutting through my hands and knees as I stand up. My head is spinning and I feel my whole body sting as I start to walk. Blood is trickling down my arms, head, and my legs. My thick jumper is torn and so are my leggings, but my black combat boots are protecting my feet. I get outside and the cheering of the crowds hits my ears. I sigh in relief of the help I can get from there. But then I stop. The pain isn't that bad, and the only thing that is bad is the amount of blood on me. It makes me look like I was just murdered. I look over the field at the crowds around the court and the many people at the picnic blankets on the ground. I don't want to cause any hassle. I look to my right and see the infirmary in the near distance. I nod at the thought of going there and slowly make my way towards the large building. "Baby, where have you gone?" Jayden asks through our mind link. I look at the infirmary and carry on walking as I reply. My foot is hurting, so I try not to since through the link. "I won't be long," I reply as I get closer to the infirmary steps. I quickly block my feeling and emotions from the mind link again. I take my time walking into the infirmary, but as soon as I enter, gasps erupt everywhere. Immediately, nurses are rushing up to me. "Stop," I say loudly so everyone can hear me. "No need to cause alarm, okay? I am fine, just got cut by glass." They all sigh in relief and one starts to lead me down the corridor, then into a room. I realize at that moment that I didn't tell anyone about the smashed windows. "Hey," I say to the nurse as she sits me on the bed, "could you send someone to the castle kitchens? The glass windows smashed." "Oh, don't tell them I told you." "Of course, Luna. Now lay back and the doctor will be right in." I nod and watch as she exits the room with a rather confused expression. "Melody, this isn't funny. Where are you?" "Willow and I are worried," Jayden shouts through our mind link, making me jump. I fall backwards onto the hard bed. "I'm fine, Jay. I'll be back to the courts in a bit," I say, sighing. "But where are you now? Please tell me, baby." Just as I am about to reply, the doctor comes into the room with a smile. I quickly sober up and send an awkward wave to the doctor. "Hello, Luna. I'm Dr. Lillian." "What have you done to yourself?" she asks, walking over to me. She looks over my arms and face first. "Could you remove your jumper and leggings if that's possible?" "Luna," she says, and I nod. "Some of these are still healing, but most of them are healed already." I quickly change and lay back down on the bed. Dr. Lillian examines me quietly and cautiously. I wince when she touches my shoulder and she apologized many times. Annoying, but I'll let her off as she is healing me. I hear Jayden in my mind, but I don't answer him yet. "Right, there is a piece of glass in your ankle, so just keep still. I am going to numb the area with an injection, then remove it. I will then stitch it up," she explains. Minutes later, she has finished stitching up the wound on my foot. She places the used utensils back into the silver tray on the side. "That's you all patched up, Luna. You are free to leave, but try not to open your stitches by overdoing exercise for a few days. Oh, and your shoulder is severely bruised, so that will take longer than normal to heal," she says, giving me a smile. "Now, there are spare clothes over there, and if you don't mind me saying, you best go find Alpha Jayden." "Thank you very much. Oh, and call me Melody," I say, hopping off the bed. She waves goodbye quickly before exiting the room. I'm on my way back now, I link Jayden, and suddenly anger and worry rushed through the link from his side. "Melody, stay where you are. I'm coming to get you, just tell me where you are. There has been an attack," he is almost screaming now. "Yeah, about that," I say, hurrying to change, and I practically sprint to the castle courts. Using werewolf speed, it only takes me a minute, even though my ankle starts burning now. I look around at the people still enjoying the game, but I see Asher standing at the steps of the castle, scanning the crowd. His eyes land on me and I see him shout something. Immediately after, Jayden storms out of the doors of the castle and runs straight towards me. As soon as I am arm's width away, he picks me up bridal style and races back into the castle. Before I can acknowledge anything, I land on Jayden's bed. I giggle slightly but stop as soon as I notice Jayden's expression. It's a mixture between angry and worry, which makes him look slightly odd. "Melody, where the heck have you been for the past 2 hours?" he asks quite calmly as he leans down so he level with me. His arms are either side of me and he keeps getting closer. "That's the thing," I say nervously. "I was sort of, in the infirmary." "Wait, what?" "Why?" he growls, and instantly his arms go around me and he pulls me into his lap as he sits on the bed. "Well, you know the smashed windows?" I ask, and he gives me a confused nod. "That happened while I was standing next to them." What he shouts and tightens his grip on me. "I was in there getting stuff for Willow, but then I hear a knock on the windows. I turn around, several rocks smashed all of the windows, I explain with a shrug. He turns my face towards him with his thumb and gives me a small worried smile, but I can see the anger hiding in his eyes. Are you okay? I'm okay now. The rock hit my shoulder pretty hard. Jay pulls down my top over my shoulder, exposing the sickening bruise. He growls before pressing a light kiss on the spot. And the glass cut most of my clothes. They are all healed except where glass got into my ankle. But the doc stitched it up. Melody, he whispers, staring at my shoulder, you should have told me. I would have taken you to the infirmary, you didn't have to go alone. Jay, I laugh softly, you would have flipped if you had seen me covered in blood and cuts. Plus, I'm old enough to go the infirmary alone. I know, but I'm your mate. I'm here to protect you and taking care of you. Plus, I wouldn't have flipped, he smirks at me. You would have gone completely insane, I say, slapping his chest playfully. I laugh, just imagining his face if he saw me after the windows smashed. You're driving me insane, that why love. Jay kisses my lips. In an instant my arms are around his neck and his are tightly around my waist. As he deepens the kiss, he moves us so I'm laying down while he hovers above me. His lips are warm and soft against mine and the electricity flows between us. He pulls away sooner than I hoped, but he doesn't stop. He sends kisses down my jaw and to my injured shoulder. He places a single soft kiss on the bruise before hovering over me again. You're so beautiful. And you beautifully mine, he whispers and places a single soft kiss to my lips. I can't help but giggle at the complete cheesiness and love. Chapter 20. Jayden and I lay in bed for a couple more hours before he is finally called away to sort out the attack. I know they have to do interviews and searches the grounds. Plus, I should prepare for when my family arrives. I get up when he leaves and change into a pair of leggings and one of Jayden's white shirts. I breathe in his scent and smile. I can't believe what's happened today. Started off with me telling Jayden I was ready to fully mate to me ending up in the infirmary. With one final check in the mirror, I walk down the many stairs towards the packed kitchens. I peep my head around the doorway first and gasp internally. By looking at this room, you would never have realized that it was covered in glass, rocks, and blood. It's completely spotless. I walk in still gobsmacked when a woman comes up to me with a smile. Her hair is pink and up in a tight bun on her head. Afternoon, Luna. How may I help you? She says with a bow. I'm glad I was used to bowing, otherwise it would get very annoying. Although I do hate it. Oh, please call me Melody. I was just looking around, sorry I almost mumble from my state of shock. This pack does not mess around. The cooks and I are about to start dinner for your family, Lou. Melody. Willow, Courtney, and Lucy are in the upstairs living room, she says. I thank her and leave to find the others. Courtney is the Delta female and mates with the Delta Mason. Lucy is the Gamma female and she is mated to Blaine, the Gamma. I have only met them all once before. I completely forgot that my family were finally coming down to see me. It's been about 2 weeks since I have seen them. Yes, I talk to them almost every day, but that's not the same. I find myself upstairs pretty quickly and I hear the girls before I see them. I go to the living room space and see the 3 girls. They turn to me and smirk at me. Melody, hey, Courtney greets, standing up and pulling me over to the couch. I fall back onto the comfy cushioned couch in between Courtney and Willow. We were just talking about babies, Willow explains, putting her hand on her almost showing belly. I smile at her and nod for them to continue. I've never really thought about kids much, considering I grew up not believing that I had a mate. Now I'm thinking about it, I do want kids. Jayden would be a great father. I look over to see Lucy holding a young child who looks the spitting image of her, in boy form that is. The kid is fast asleep. Right, so Melody, just to catch you up, Lucy has a 3-year-old called Jenny and a 1-year-old called Nikki. Courtney hasn't wanted to start a family yet, and you already know I'm pregnant, Willow explains, pointing around the room as she does. Where is Jenny, if you don't mind me asking? I ask Lucy, who smiles and shakes her head quickly. Of course not, you are the Luna Queen, you know. You can ask us anything and we must answer, she says with a laugh. Oh, but please don't think of me as a Luna Queen. You guys are my friends and you're my Beta, Delta, and Gamma, so we are all together. Call me Melody, I say with a confident nod. Wow. I'm proud of myself for getting that out there because I've never been one for confrontation or public speaking. Yet I suppose I'll have to get used to that once I'm mated and crowned. Crumbs. Where were we? Lucy's question pulls me from my thoughts and I quickly listen in. I ask what Blaine and Asher were like when you told them you were pregnant. Courtney says, looking between the two women. Willow looks to Lucy and smirks. Let's just say I've never seen Asher so happy than when I told him I was pregnant. He was jumping up and down and kissing my belly. It was weird but sort of cute too. Willow laughs. He cannot wait to be a daddy. Blaine was almost the same, but for me he is younger than me, so I was 19 and he was 17. He found it difficult to come to terms with it at first, but as soon as he saw Jenny's little face he fell. Then, for Nikki, he was much more excited. How about you, Melody? Have you thought about kids? Lucy adds, and all the girls turn to me. Well, Jayden and I haven't taken that step yet. We haven't talked about it. But I suppose one day I'll have to have a heir, I say, and my heart sinks. I don't even have a choice whether I have a baby or not. I'm going to have two to keep the bloodline going and the crown passed down. This queen stuff is way more than I expected. I have to go, I say. I can feel my chest tightening and I feel like my lungs are burning. My vision is blurring, so as I get up I stumble over something and fall to the floor. Melody, I hear the girls calling me, but nothing registers in my brain. My mind is swirling with duties that I have and how my life is going to revolve around the crown. Baby, I hear someone whisper in my ear. Sparks fly around my skin as his arms wrap around me. I feel him pick me up, but I close my eyes. Focus on breathing in and out, okay? Baby, please. Just breathe. Jayden's voice is calm and soothing. I instantly find myself calming down. I breathe in and out slowly a few times before I open my eyes. Jayden's face is the first thing in sight and I realize my head lying on his lap. I'm okay now, thanks Jay, I say, breathing deeply, and he grabs my hand. What happened, Melody? He asks, rubbing his thumb and smoothing circles along my hand. I sit up slowly and move, so I sit next to him. We were just talking and I panicked about it. What were you talking about, love? Please tell me so I can help, he says, kissing my forehead. Babies. I panicked because I realize how much of our lives are going to be written out for us. I have no choice on whether I have a baby or not. I will be forced to give you an heir, I say, sadly, looking down at my hands. Jayden uses his thumb to lift my chin up to look at him. His blue eyes that are full of electricity are staring straight in me as he speaks. Melody, listen to me. Nobody is going to force us to do anything. I've told you before and I'll tell you again, this is us, you and me. Not them. We will have a baby when we are ready to, and if you don't want one I will never force you. I am not going to lie to you, Melody. It's not going to be easy being king and queen. We will have duties to perform, but nobody will hurt you or force you into anything, otherwise they'll have to deal with me, he says with a smirk. He flexes his muscles and I literally feel myself melt inside. I can't believe the girl who grew up believing she was mateless found the hottest, kindest, bravest. Okay, as long as you're by my side, Jayden. Also, I think I do want kids as long as they're yours, I laugh, and Jayden pulls me closer. They better be mine, Melody. Jayden kisses my lips softly and I smile into the kiss. I wrap my arms around his neck and deepen the kiss, but before we get too heated he pulls away. Melody, there is something I have to tell you, but don't be upset, okay, he says, and I raise my eyebrow at him. My parents have shut down the borders after the attack on the future queen. He gestures to me, which means your family won't be able to come down. Oh right, I say, nodding and looking down at the floor. If I'm honest, I hadn't thought about much today. I'll ring them later and speak to them so it's not too bad. Hey, I have something to show you. Just follow me and don't say anything, he says and pulls me up. It's only then I realize that we are in his office. I follow him out the office door and we rush through the maze of corridors of the castle. I wave at all the people we pass and they all bow to us. I grab Jayden's hand as he starts to speed up and become too fast for me. He looks back and grins at me before whisking me up into his arms. His pace is faster than mine as we exit the castle and rush through the open grounds, then into the trees. I watch the green trees become a blue as Jayden runs through the forest. I shiver at the cold chill and find myself leaning into Jayden's warm chest. Jayden comes to a sudden halt and I almost fall out of his arms, but thanks to werewolf reactions, he caught me safely. He slowly puts me on my feet and I look up. He just smiles and points behind me. I give him a questioning look before spinning around to see nothing except a rope ladder hanging from a tree. I gasp and look up to see a giant, gorgeous treehouse above us in the tree line. The tree's branches and leaves are covering most of the house, but I can see the beautiful wooden design and a hammock on the balcony. I turn around and run into Jayden's arms. I hold him tightly and he wraps his arms around me too, accepting my silent thanks. "Shall we go see it?" he asks, placing a kiss on my nose before heading towards the ladder with my hand in his. "Ladies first." "Why, thank you, kind sir. Anyone would believe you are a prince," I say in a posh tone as I mount the wobbly ladder and start to climb. "And anyone would believe you are a princess by the beauty you behold," Jayden comes back at me with a posh British accent. I laugh and shake my head. My mate is crazy. I finally make it to the top and have to push open a hatch door to get inside. I pull myself up and into my feet, but as soon as I see the treehouse up close, I almost fall back. I hear Jayden close the hatch door and pull up the ladder behind me, but I'm focused on this little treehouse. From here I can see inside the glass door. I can see a large double bed with beautiful wooden work all around it. The sheets are a gorgeous forest green. I can also see a wardrobe in the corner and a door to what must be a bathroom. The outside holds a single balcony that stretches around the entire square house. On my right is a large hammock that sways gently in the afternoon breeze. To my left is a small table with wooden chairs around it. I used to spend most of my days in here. Jayden explains, holding the door open. "It's amazing. It's somewhere where I can be away from my duties and royalty and the pack. It's somewhere away from the internet so I can just be myself and relax. I thought it would be the perfect place for us to mate. It's the first place I wanted to take my mate whenever I met her, but when you arrived there were so many complications." I walk over to him and put my hand on his cheek. He gives me a sweet but sad smile. His face sweeps around the room before landing back on mine. "Obviously we don't have to mate now, but I thought it was the perfect time to show you," he says, pulling me inside and shutting the door. "We can stay the night if you want. It's so much fun in here in the mornings. No noise but natural noises." I watch him sit on the edge of the bed and sigh happily as his eyes wander the gorgeous room. I stand in front of him and just smile. Jayden always takes so much pride in things he does or has. The grin on his face that he gets when he is proud is one of the best jobs I've ever seen. I reach out and curl a piece of his hair around my finger and his eyes instantly beam over at me. He reaches his hand out and pulls me closer. "Jayden," he hums in reply, "I love it so much. It's amazing. I'm so sorry for all the ... complications, but no more of them. I plan to stay forever. I want you, Jayden. I want to marry you. I want to have babies with you. I want to be your queen. The first want to rule with you, by my side. I love you." His face morphs into one of complete surprise as I say my true feelings aloud. It only takes a few seconds before he throws me in the bed and lies above me. "I love you, Melody," he says, kissing me. "I can't wait to start my life with you." I pull his lips back into mine and the kiss soon gets heated. I put my legs around his waist, making us impossibly close, and I hear his growl of approval. His lips press hard against mine and I savor every moment. Our battle of dominance is easy over as he wins before he pulls away, but only to place an open-mouth kiss on my mark. A pleasurable moan rips out of me, and in that second I decide. I want to mate with him now. Right now I'm not in heat. I'm not being pressured by his family. It's just us. This is how I want it. "Jayden," I whisper, and he pulls away then, with lustful eyes, looks at me. "Sorry, I'll stop," he breathes out heavily, trying to calm himself. I pull his face closer by my hand on the back of his head. "Don't stop, Jay," I whisper, and he looks at me with conflicted eyes. "Don't do it for my sake, if anyone else's, Melody. We'll do it when you are ready," he says, stroking my cheek. "I am ready, Jay. I want to start our life," I say, pulling his lips back to mine. That night one soul become two loving souls combined. They become stronger in every way. Their love becomes impossibly stronger. Nothing will get in their way. Chapter 21. Chirp, chirp, chirp. I yawn rather loudly as I open my eyes to the morning sun shining through the windows. I realize I'm lying on the white sheets on my chest. I can feel a naked, strong arm around my lower back and smile as the memories from our night fly through my mind. I never knew that a mate could cause so much pleasure and love, but now I do, and I wouldn't wish for anything else. Lying in Jayden's arms felt safe and comforting, as though I could never be harmed and would always be all right so long as he is with me. I suppose life doesn't work that way. Relationships are tested all the time, but that's the challenge to see how strong your relationship truly is. I yawn as my eyes decide they don't want to close again. I let my arms stretch out as much as possible without waking Jayden before I carefully turn my head so I am facing his sleepy face. His features are soft and I love how relaxed he looks in his sleep. I can see the soft crinkles on his forehead from all the frowning. I raise my hand and softly trace them. Jayden stirs in his sleep and his arm shoots out to grab me. Once he has found my waist, he pulls me into him as tight as he possibly can, and I can't help but wince slightly. As soon as the uncomfortably hold decreases, I smile at my mate. He is officially mine and I am officially his. If I went back in time and told my 16-year-old self that I'm a few years she would be fully mated, she would have laughed and slapped some sense into me. Now here I am, a lovesick girl in bed with her handsome alpha. Although I'm over the moon about completing our mating bond, I'm still nervous of a few things. For instance, it'll be easier to mind Link, which is good, but he will also be able to affect my emotions and thoughts easier. Plus, there is being Luna Queen, but since the day I first started training for it, I've become more confident with myself, and I know Jayden will be with me to help at all times. I hear Jayden sigh and break from my thoughts. He stirs next to me and I bring my hand up. I gingerly trace his cheek and down to his lips. He smirks and I realize that he is awake. I softly slap his face and let out a laugh. "How long have you been awake?" I ask, looking at his long lashes that hide those beautiful eyes. He quickly opens his eyes and gazed up at me. "Long enough to know that this is how I want to wake up every morning," he says, grabbing my hand and kissing my knuckle. "What, tired and sore?" I joke, pecking his lips softly when he pouts. "You feel okay?" he asks, placing a hand on my abdomen. I blush at the gesture and give him a nod. Mating him created a stronger bond, which is scary, but I'm excited to start my life with Jayden now. All my fears kept getting in the way, but now they have vanished and I know that I love him. I do. There is no denying it. "What shall we do now?" I ask, placing with a long strand of his hair that's falling into his eyes. His magical orbs watch my hand as he answers. "I have a pretty good idea what we can do." He smirks and climbs on top of me. I let out a small laugh just before he presses his lips to mine. When I wake up again, it's sunny outside, and this time Jayden is awake. His strong back is facing me as he pulls on a pair of boxers. I chuckle and he instantly turns around to face me. "So Sleeping Beauty finally wakes up," he jokes, standing at the foot of the bed, either a grin plastered on his face. "No, she isn't," I say, closing my eyes again with a soft sigh. I'm tired, but I don't want to sleep right now. I want to spend time with Jayden. I know that this new stronger link will mean we want each other 24/7, but I'll let it slide today. "I can't believe your parents are making us come back," I moan and pout as we walk back towards the castle. The magical treehouse now hidden and out of sight. My heart sinks. I loved that treehouse, and how amazing our time was there. Now Jayden's parents have called us back to the castle immediately. "I know, baby," he says, wrapping his arm around my shoulder. "They need us back, and what should I have said?" "Sorry, I can't, because I'm having sex with my mate all day." I laugh, trying to hide the fact that I'm blushing. "Yes, that's what you should have said," I nod, leaning into him. "I know that everyone we meet on our journey back will know exactly what we did last night. As we fully mated last night, our scents will be mixed. This happens so other wolves know that the wolf has a mate and who that mate is. Also, because Jayden has a strong alpha power that radiates off him, so will I. Everyone will know I am Luna, and when I'm crowned, that power will increase. It's a big responsibility, and although many will respect you, there are still those out there that will riot and refuse. That's part of being Luna Queen." I look up at Jayden to see his radiating smile. His face is glowing and I can feel the happiness rolling off him. As long as I have Jayden, I know everything will turn out okay. "Did your parents say what they want us for?" I ask curiously as the castle finally comes into view behind the many trees. "Nope, just that you and I need to head to their private kitchens immediately. Obviously, Hay must have thought we were in the castle," he says, winking at me. I bite my lips and move out of his shoulder grip so I can hold his hand instead. Our hand link perfectly and I let out a long sigh. We soon exit the woods and in no time we are walking through the long winding corridors of the castle. We make it to the King and Queen's kitchens and I instantly spot Russell and Kate. They're talking to someone, but I can't see them due to the size of Russell. The voice is so familiar. Then suddenly it clicks and I gasp, making Kate and Russell move so I can finally see them. Mom. Dad, I shout on surprise as they both rush towards me. Jayden lets go of my hand and takes a few steps back as my parents crush me into a giant hug. Oh, my little girl, my mom says, we've missed you. It hasn't been the same without you at the academy, my father says. They both pull away and I still stand there in shock looking at them. I can't believe you're here, I say, grabbing each of their hands. I look at Jayden, who smiles gently at me. We were meant to come, you know that, Mom replies, putting a hand on my cheek. I lean into her touch that I've missed so much. Yeah, but I thought. We invited them anyway, Kate cuts me off. I turn to her and see her smiling brilliantly at me and my parents. We decided we could not let you see your parents after being separated for so long. Thank you, I say with unshed tears in my eyes as I look back at my parents. Jayden must have sensed my sadness, so he comes up behind me and puts his arms around my middle. His closeness and touch instantly calms me. I blush as I look at my parents. My mom is grinning at Jayden and I while my father glares at Jayden's arm around me. Congratulations, you two, Mom finally breaks the awkward silence between the six of us. I can't believe you are finally fully mated, Kate joins in, coming over and high-fiving my mom. I chuckle at their teen-like reaction. Russell comes up to us and pats his son on the shoulder. Well done, son, then turns to me and pats me too. Congratulations, Melody. Welcome to the family. I smile and thank him before looking at my dad. His face is a mix between happy and angry. His eyes are flickering between Jayden and I. I can tell he is finding this difficult. I don't like this, he mutters, but we all heard him. Mom goes up to him and pecks his cheek. Come on, Austin, they're mates and she isn't a little girl anymore. Plus, do you remember how much you wanted us to fully mate when we accepted each other? Imagine how Jayden felt and how he feels now. Mom says convincingly. I stare at them both and put my hands on Jayden's that are still around my stomach. I'm sorry, I say through mind link. He looks down at me with a confused expression. His eyes flicker with emotion as he stares down at me. For what? Love. His arms tighten slightly around my waist and I bask in the feeling of his touch. Making you wait so long out of fear, I reply, but I'm not scared anymore. In fact, I'm so much happier than I ever thought possible. His smirk brightens and he kisses me softly. I smile into the kiss. I love you, mate. I hear an awkward cough coming from in front of us and a red blush finds my face. I quickly pull away and turn to where the cough came from. My dad. He looks nervous, but then he takes a deep breath. He smiles softly as us and nods towards Jayden. I instantly relax. Your mom is right, Melody. Congratulations to you. I know you'll make a great pair, but Jayden, I am warning you, you break her heart, and I will not hesitate to rip your head off, he says, pointing straight at Jayden, who has suddenly turned very frightened. Yes, sir. I would never hurt her, he says, tightening his hold on me. I put my hands over his and smile at my parents. Jayden Povey. I look from Melody and her parents. They look so similar and they share such great personalities. They are all kind and so loyal. Maya and Austin have been together through thick and thin. I've heard so many tales of them as I grew up. My favorite was how he stayed loyal and loving to her even though he thought she was dead. I promise to do that to Melody. No matter what happens, I will always stay loyal to her and protect her throughout all my days. I kiss her forehead softly, and she turns towards me with a cheeky grin. So what shall we do now? Melody asks, looking at me before turning her attention back to the set of parents that stare at us with warm smiles. I can see how happy they are with Melody and I. I know her parents had started to give up on Melody having a mate because she didn't believe. Now we are together fully and forever. All of a sudden, everything goes black. Even my vision is failing me as I shuffle on my feet, trying to get my mind into focus to fix the problem. What's happening? I shout to anyone in the room. People's scents are mixing, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to figure out who is here. Melody stiffens in my arms and I move slightly to try and find my bearing. Jayden, my mom, call out to me in the darkness. Katie, my father, shouts, clearly angry, and I hear footsteps moving around the kitchen. I feel Melody move from my arms and I growl. I search around for her, but I still can't see anything. Melody, I shout out into the darkness. Silence. Her scent has disappeared completely and I can't hear anything. Melody, her parents shout, but still silence. All of a sudden, a scream echoes down the corridors and my blood curdles. My throat clasps shut and I freeze. Melody. Then the lights spring into action and I look around the room. My parents, along with Melody's parents and a few guards, are looking confused around me. But no Melody. I spin around in my spot, but I can't see her anywhere. Her scent is quickly disappearing and I feel a stabbing pain in my chest. Melody, I shout as I race around the entire castle. Everyone looks around for some sort of order or reason for the sudden power cut, but I ignore everyone. Melody is more important. I end up back in the kitchen and snarl at everyone in there, including my own parents. Where is my mate? Chapter 22. My head throbs painfully, making me wince. My whole body feels numb and sore as I sit on the floor. The floor is cold and damp underneath me and I ache to stand up and finally stretch my legs. I can feel my arms and ankles are tied down by something. They are sore and my whole body is exhausted. I ache to be in Jayden's arms, but I'm not. Wait, where am I? My eyes slowly flutter open and I grimace at the bright white light shining on me. I look around at my surrounding with pained eyes. I'm in a cell. The long silver bars in front of me are thick and intimidating. By the looks of it, they were made from silver, so I better not touch them. Then again, from what I learnt in my old pack, the cells are flooded with wolfbane gas to weaken the wolves. I try to move my hand to my hand, but wince when they are caught by something again just before it reaches my forehead. I whip my head around and notice the silver shackles that tie my hands to the wall. There are more around my ankles that are keeping me down. I quickly look around again for an exit on instinct. Unfortunately, I only see the barred cell down that is most certainly locked. I wince as the sore skin around my wrist and ankles finally reaches the stage where it has started to bleed. The metallic scent makes my nose twist in disgust. I stand up on wobble legs, trying to see my surroundings better. The shackles stop me from moving any further than where I stand. The wrists are straining against the shackles as I try to stay standing. Pain shoots through my body and soon I can't stay up any longer. I slump to the floor and wince as my head hits the wall. I wouldn't even try if I was you, a sullen, croaky voice speaks up to my left. I slowly turn my throbbing head towards it. In between the large bars that keep me caged in, much like a wild animal, is a dirty, blood-covered woman. She looks as though she hasn't slept for 3 years. They loosen the chains the more they break you, she adds before backing up into a dark corner of her cell, so with no enhanced sight I can't see her anymore. They loosen the chains the more they break you. What is this place? Why am I here? Last thing I remember was being with Jayden and our parents. Then the lights went off, causing a panic. Before I could do anything, a strong, horrific smell invaded my nostrils before I passed out. Next thing I know, I was chained up in this horrible cell. I don't know where I am or how long I have been out. I wonder what Jayden is doing. I hope he is looking for me, and I hope he is close to figuring out where I am. I haven't been awake long, and I can already feel the panic rolling in like a roller coaster at full speed. I can feel my heartbeat getting faster and faster. Sweat has started to form on my forehead, and my skin itches to be let free from the silver chains. Before I can start to shout or scream, I hear a set of keys turning in a door. I whip around and see a large man at the entrance of my cell. He stands to the side and nods to someone. Seconds later, a man and a woman in white lab coats come around the corner. I snarl angrily as the large man comes towards me. I try to leap at him until the chains pull me back and the silver dogs into my already cut skin. Subject number 23, ready for test 1. One of the scientists, the man, speaks out into a small voice recorder. The woman stares at me before scribbling something down on the clipboard she is holding. Marco, bring her to the testing room 3, the woman says, giving me a weird look before walking off with her head high and her shoes clicking against the concrete floor. The large man, Marco, comes straight up to me and unlocks my chains. I sit silently whilst he lets me free, shackle by shackle. But as soon as the last one comes off, my body wakes up. I instantly turn and push Marco's chest as hard as I can. He flies across the room and hits the wall on the other side. I rush out of the cell door and walk in the direction of the exit. I slow my pace as soon as the corridor turns from the damp, dark concrete cells into a white, bright corridor. White doors line up the corridor and I squint in the light. The tile floor is warm underneath my bare feet. I was only wearing a white vest top and a pair of white shorts. I match the corridor. I tiptoe my way along, listening closely to any sounds, but the wolf bane is still in my system. That means I have to try and escape by human standards. I hear a loud bang like the sound of a shotgun, and a few seconds later pain erupts on the back of my left shoulder. I fall forward and cry out in agony. Subject 23. Failed escape attempt number 1. I hear the familiar voice of the man who was in the cell. I grip my shoulder tightly as I'm pulled roughly to my feet. 2 men hold my arms tightly, and they turn me to face the 2 scientist-dressed couple. Mr. James, Mrs. Baker, where shall we take the subject? One of the guards asks, pushing me a step forward. My shoulder aches, but the pain has mostly gone. I suppose my healing is still supernaturally fast. Take her to testing room 3. We will proceed with test number 1 for today, Mr. James says, nodding to his other scientist, who is obviously called Mrs. Baker. I growl under my breath as they drag me behind them through the white corridors. They open a door and push me in. I stumble over my feet and fall to the floor. James and Baker follow me in, and lastly the 2 guards walk in. They close the door, then come over to me and pick me up. Before I can protest at all, they throw me down onto a hospital chair and quickly tie down my hands and ankles. I pull against the restraints. "What do you want?" I shout, my voice croaky from the lack of water. They don't even act as if I have spoken. The scientist-looking people fiddling around with something in the corner while the guards stand by the door to make sure I can't get out. It's not like I could escape anyway. I have guards on my flank, silver restraints, and no idea where to escape. I glance around the enclosed room and frown. The room is set up to mirror a doctor's appointment room. It makes me feel nervous, and a fear of what is going to happen to me washes through me. A scary range of utensils line the countertops along the room, and a treadmill is pushed into one corner. The room is large but is crammed full of tables and machines of all shapes and sizes. There is only one door in this room and one tiny roof window. I can see that outside the window is a gray sky and clouds that look dark and full of rain. How I wish to be out there. My body aches for fresh air and freedom. Although my wolf side is numb, I can still feel the anger and loneliness she feels too. "Let's begin, shall we, Mr.?" James speaks up, making me snarl under my breath. He turns towards me with a emotionless face and something in his hand. I move my eyes to his right hand, where he is now wearing a pair of gloves. I pull against the restraints as hard as I can, but I fail miserably. I watch carefully as they walk up to me with scrutinizing faces. Hearing test 1 and 2 passed. Healing test 3 passed. James grabs my ankle and examines it. My wolf paces angrily as a male other than our mate touches us. No scarred tissue from healing test. Ankle is perfect condition. Bear trap did not cause enough damage to the female werewolf's limb, he says to Baker as she records and writes down everything he says. Bear trap. How the heck did he know about that? Unless... "You son of a bitch," I scream and pull on the rope. I manage to lift my leg up enough to knee him in the face. I feel triumphant as I see blood drip from his nose. "Guards, restrain her," he shouts as he staffers away from me, holding his nose in his hand. I bare my canines at them, but it doesn't seem to faze the 2 men as they rush up to me. They quickly pull the ropes tighter, making me wince. I can feel the rough material of the rip cutting into my flesh. "I told you we should have injected her with wolfsbane," Baker shouts in a shrilled voice. Her eyes look at me with a slight fear, and I bare my teeth again. She should be scared. They all should be. They took me from my mate the day after we mated. They took the Luna Queen. They took the mate of the Alpha King, who I know will not stop until he finds me. I hope he doesn't. I hope he finds me. I hope I don't die here without saying my last goodbye to my family. Questions, James states. I slowly focus back on him to see a piece of tissue held against his nose. I smirk. "You're the one who set the bear trap," I grit out, my teeth grinding together painfully in the process. Correct. This was to measure how well you scar, he states. His face is full of curiosity and disgust as he looks at me. Obviously, these cruel human beings don't like werewolves, but they know about us. How? What else have you done? I ask, leaning back in my seat. My body has become tired of fighting against the tight rope holding me down. Plenty. Hearing tests. Smell tests. Minor hunting tests. I mean, for an average female werewolf, you're impressive, he says, pacing around the edge of the room. He doesn't know. He doesn't realize who he has kidnapped. Ha. Well, bad news for him is that I know my mate will look for me and his strength should allow him to. They have no idea what's coming their way now. Suddenly my heart drops. All those people in the cells, werewolves, trapped here for experimentation. It's sick. What if they don't have a family to rescue them? What if they are lone wolves? What if they are going to die here? My heart squeezes painfully at the thought of werewolves, like me, will live and die on this horrible environment. You sick, horrible people, I shout. Everyone immediately steps away. I snarl and growl as I itch to rip out their throats. We are scientists. We experiment to find a way of helping our people survive. Your people are anomalous in a set of DNA and you should not exist, James spits out in annoyance. I look at him in shock. Let me tell you, we are not anomalies, you are. You only care for yourselves, whereas we care for each other. We don't let our people torture and experiment on humans. We are human, but we are also part wolf. We are not the enemy here. You, by doing all this to us, are making yourselves our enemy. Any future pain on you is your own doing because we wolves have never harmed you.